You are listening to CrossTalk, a safe place to discuss addiction, recovery, harm reduction, and everything in between. Support for this podcast comes from the Kentucky Opioid Response Effort and Advocates of Recovery. Content and production by the team at Turning Point Recovery Community Center. Now, buckle up and get ready for the show.
Welcome everyone to CrossTalk Recovery, the recovery podcast that supports all forms of recovery. I'm Matt Lewis, and I'm here with
Michelle Fonda,
AJ Garnett,
Sarah Tinsley.
All right, welcome guys. Today we have Sarah back.
Yay! So good to be back, Matt.
Good to see her. One of the podcast fan favorites. And AJ here from Live Well, and they've come in. That's where Sarah works now. Is over at Live Well.
This is my boss, AJ.
Yeah. And they're here to talk a little bit about their program and what they do and how they help the community. So we're glad to have you guys on. AJ, tell us a little bit about what you do and outreach and all that.
Well, primarily we started back in 1996 helping people with HIV find housing because back then, and even now really, they just weren't able to. We eventually spread into nutritional help, medication help, and now we do prevention as well. We also are reaching more out to people with hepatitis C or people who are at risk for hepatitis C and other STDs pretty soon. We do free testing for HIV and hepatitis C that's completely confidential. We provide treatment for about 450 individuals that have HIV. And we do not directly treat hepatitis C yet, but hopefully by next April we'll be doing that in-house as well for free for everybody.
Oh, great.
Awesome. Everything's taken care of through a program called ADAP. So we don't charge even if people don't have insurance. About a third of our patients don't. So they're still taken care of. We provide sex kits, safe sex kits that make things more fun for people. Our main big outreach right now is making sure everyone gets tested at least once in their lives for HIV.
Yeah.
There's this big misconception that it's only gay men that get it or only people who do X, Y, and Z get it. But realistically, I can tell you from meeting most of our patients that it's anyone and everyone. It's if you've ever had unprotected sex and especially if you've ever done any sort of injection-based drug.
Right.
Without anything that wasn't prescribed, it's a very big risk. That's actually both those are approaching about 50-50 as far as new infections are for HIV in West Kentucky. And anyone who uses injection-based drugs and shares any sort of works at all is usually pretty susceptible to hepatitis C as well. So we're seeing a lot of combos of the two. And we can cure hepatitis C, we can treat HIV, we just got to find them first.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing how far that's come just in my lifetime,
And like these are instant, it's not let me stick you or swab you and then I'll call you in 5 days so you sit there and sweat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, right then. And that's the whole reason I wanted to go to work. One of the main reasons, because as a person in recovery, we are really prone to having, diseases that you get from IV drug use. Hep C is super, how I don't have it, I'll never know. But I got tested. That's how, if I didn't get tested, then I wouldn't have known. So that's my favorite, is to go out into the treatment centers, anybody that has anything to do with recovery, because that's a group of people that need to be tested. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, we have the combination where people think that they're not at risk for it because no one ever bothered to tell them, or they think that if they do have either one of those, hepatitis C or HIV, then they're just going to die. And that hasn't been the case for a very long time. Even back in the 80s and 90s, when you heard about things like that, those people had those for a very, very long time without being caught. And even then there was treatment that just wasn't that good. They weren't that good.
Yeah.
And nowadays we can have it to where within about 4 months, either with hepatitis C, it's gone, it's cured, or with HIV, it gets to a point where your immune system goes back to normal and you cannot spread it to other people through sexual contact. So a whole program we call U equals U, undetectable equals untransmittable, which I may have said before. I may have forgot that, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I mean, you can live a completely normal life. Like, people are still so scared of their results, and that's just not the way it is anymore. You can do everything that anybody else can do. You can live just as healthy a life. You just got to know so you can get it taken care of, and testing's how you do that.
Yeah, we regularly have patients get married, have babies, completely everything normal. The only difference is they've got to take one extra pill a day, sometimes two, depending on which. If I can take pills for my blood pressure and messed up brain, anyone can keep up with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. And you guys do not only test where you're at, but you do, like you said, you do a lot of outreach. I know you guys test here sometimes at Turning Point. Is there a place that people can go to find your schedule, when you guys are testing, where?
We you can come to our facility anytime and be tested with no appointment, no anything. Just walk in the door and we will get you tested. But we go to Genesis, the men and women's facility. We go to Fuller once a month. Is that right?
Well, we've got a pretty big list of places that we go.
Yeah.
But if anyone's looking for anything specific like that, right now the best places are either our website, livewellchs.org, which is kind of weirdly spelled. So the easiest way is just look us up on Facebook. We do a monthly thing there that we divide things up between what's a public event and what is something that's just private. And we usually tell if we're going to have giveaways, like we often give away $20 Kroger cards or something like that. Sometimes it's Starbucks, sometimes it's et cetera. But we always let you know where we're going to be and what we're going to be giving away.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I looked at your Facebook page. I saw you guys go to drag shows.
Yes.
Quite frequently.
You will find us at a drag show.
Yeah,
Yes.
there are so many of those going on lately, and
Yeah.
we're at most of them.
Yes.
Every now and then I have to tell them to hit the brakes on it because I can't be out every weekend working, but
They're
for the
so
most part, we're
fun
there.
though. Like we have such a good time.
Yeah, I used to go back in the day, with
Yeah.
a bunch of girls and go. They're always a fun, entertaining show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went to a Miley Cyrus theme one downtown at 18. Was that at 1857?
1857.
Oh my gosh. They had literally had like a paper mache wrecking ball that they had made. It was amazing. Like we had
my
a ball.
goodness, that's so
yes.
cool.
Yes. I'll have to tell you when the next one is. You
Yeah.
can go with us. Yeah.
That's great. Michelle, do you have any questions you have? Do you want to know about what they do?
We'll be right back.
Hey y'all. Did you know it's illegal to own just one guinea pig in Switzerland because they get lonely? Here at Turning Point, we don't want you to ever be lonely either. That's why we're open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Always feel free to come hang with our friendly staff, and don't forget your guinea pig. We're located at 415 Broadway Street, downtown Paducah. As a woman in recovery, I know how important having a fellowship of women has been for me. Come join us at the Women of Worth All Recovery Support Group here at Turning Point, 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky, every Friday night at 6 p.m., where we discuss our personal experiences in recovery. Hope to see you there.
I was not expecting that. Yeah.
We were going to tell y'all, just kind of demonstrate how the test works and how we're obviously not going to test here today, but this is
Do that.
This is the pipette. It takes that much blood. It's just a finger stick. Everybody thinks that we're going to put an IV in them and dry. It's not. It's that much blood that goes in this little pipette. This is what'll prick your finger. It's about like a bee sting. And then you just mix one. It's like a middle school chemistry set is what he always says. You put the blood in here, mix it, pour the blue. This one clears it out. And within 30 seconds, usually, you have your result. I mean, there's literally nothing to it. And then the hepatitis C, can take up to 15 minutes, usually within 5.
Usually 5 to 7, but worst case 15 minutes.
But even with that, if you're being tested for HIV and hepatitis C, it's one finger stick. Like that's it. That's about like a bee sting. So it's really simple, it's really easy, and it's really fast. So,
yeah, I've been tested several times.
Anybody in recovery should be, especially if you've been anybody. But if you were an IV drug user, get tested,
And a lot of times you guys have incentives to get tested as well.
Right. Right.
Yeah, we're trying to move to where if we can get more funding, we're going to have it to where anytime anyone comes in, we can at least give them like a $10 grocery card within reason. We have to break it up. Like you can only come once every 3 months or so.
Right.
Yeah.
But as of now, we usually, at least when we do big events, like right now we're working on doing a big dance style event downtown. December 9th or 10th is what we're looking at, because December 1st is World AIDS Day. It's a Memorial Day for everyone lost to AIDS related illnesses. We can't do anything on those days because apparently the 2nd and 3rd everything's booked up in Paducah, but we're hoping that next week to do that, and we'll definitely have incentives there. We'll be giving away cups and umbrellas, little squeeze balls that are shaped like eggplants and peaches. My favorite.
Yeah.
But,
we have really neat rainbow like water. They're awesome. We've got some good stuff. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, it's really important what you guys are doing, man. You know, just like you said, because just like we work out at the Needle Exchange and go with them too, and they do testing there as well. And it's like, I know that with the Needle Exchange, there's this stigma of, is this, enabling people or whatever. But the testing is about, like, if you can't catch it and you can't treat it, then there's more opportunity for it to spread.
Right.
Right. And that's what you guys are trying to do. So, I mean, I think it's great.
And LiveWell also prescribes PrEP, which, were you going to talk about PrEP?
Oh, yeah, I can. Yeah, PrEP is actually a once daily pill that prevents HIV in most cases. We can prescribe it to anyone who feels like they're at risk, which I usually say primarily it's people who have multiple sexual partners that don't always use condoms, or anyone who does currently use injection-based drugs. But it's not perfect. It's about 99% effective against sex and 87% against drug use. But that's still a really good way to block one of the hardest to deal with STDs or STIs, whatever the current, that changes back and forth a lot.
They do.
But like I said, it's not a vaccine or anything, but we don't have a lot of people on that right now, but we do prescribe it in-house for anyone who's interested in it. And that's another one of those. A lot of people are scared to take it because there is a term that goes around, Truvada whore, where people think that people are going to think that they're promiscuous or
Stigma.
Yeah, we deal with that a lot too. It's every aspect. There's stigma against something or another.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's just a way that people keep safe. It's like making fun of someone for buying condoms. That's
Right.
always silly to me.
Or
Like
stopping at stop signs, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
No. And that's the thing between PrEP and then being able to get people who are living with HIV where they're undetectable. Like ideally, if people who are at risk are on PrEP, people who do have it are undetectable, then like eventually there is, you're not spreading HIV anymore.
Yep.
That's obviously not going to happen tomorrow, but I mean,
Right.
long term with those two things available, that's the goal,
Yeah, we've gone down about 40% of new cases since 2007.
Wow. That's awesome.
There are some lofty goals that our government has put forward, which are great in thought, but we're not quite there yet. But we're moving forward a lot quicker than we thought we were. And a lot of that's due to stuff like PrEP and testing and U equals U and all that stuff. Right. And then just awareness campaigns, because back in the 80s and 90s, if anyone listened to this old enough, you couldn't get away from hearing about it. It was very special episodes of sitcoms and commercials and everything that happened with Freddie Mercury and Magic Johnson and Eazy-E and all manner of people. Now it doesn't get talked about as much. Every now and then, I know there was one of the guys from Queer Eye told everyone he was positive. Other than that, that's about the only time in recent memory I can think of anyone talking about it.
Like in the public eye like that. Yeah.
And because of that, people have stopped getting tested as much, and they've stopped being worried as much about it. And it's not the end of the world if you get HIV. By all means, it can be easily treated, but we got to know it's there, and people have to know why they should be tested first.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody. You want to know something? My biggest issue with meetings is, despite their name, they're never about me. Here at Turning Point, all of our meetings are for you and about you. We have meetings at least 3 times a day, 7 days a week. We are located at 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky. Call 270-444-3621 for more information.
Every day, an average of 130 people die from an opioid overdose.
Opioid overdose is the leading cause of death among adults 50 and younger in the United States. Naloxbox helps save the lives of overdose victims, and there are now over 600 units installed nationwide, but we can do better.
Each unit increases access to naloxone, it reduces the stigma that's often associated with opioid overdose, and it works to save lives one box at a time. We hate that there are so many places in this country that need naloxbox units, but the truth of the matter is there are still so many more that need them. Although rescue should not be the only strategy used to address this epidemic, it remains a very important one. You have the chance to improve victim outcomes and the chance to reduce overdose deaths. Whether you're in the private or public sector, you can make a statement that you care. You can install a naloxbox, and you can help us save lives.
So that's why we really wanted to come. Why I asked if we could come. We're glad that you had us. As someone who works at Live Well and a person in recovery, I know so many people that have had hepatitis C that are cured from it now. They have a normal life, you know. That's what we do. We put ourselves in really risky situations and engage in really risky behaviors. But it doesn't have to be the end of the road. Like, get tested, get on the medications you need, get it taken care of. So for everybody, but especially anyone in recovery and anyone who is an IV drug user, just come see us, come to one of our events, whatever, just get tested.
Yeah, and we do everything as anonymous as possible. Like, we don't tell anybody anything. And if anyone makes you feel weird about it, just saying you're coming in to get some of our giveaways or something. Yeah. We do ask a few sexual-based questions, a few drug use-based questions. We do those so we can keep track of where new cases are coming from. But if you don't feel comfortable sharing that, just lie to my face. I don't care. The important thing is that people get tested. Right. And if it takes lying to me and stuff like that, then I'm more than willing to do that.
With that. Yeah.
Awesome. AJ, is there any particular reason why you got into doing this?
I'm going to be honest. I kind of stumbled backwards into it. They needed someone who was good with public speaking and not afraid to be around people, outgoing. A friend of mine one of my best friends since middle school, she's our head of medical, Ashley Lynch, called me up and said, hey, we've got an opening here. Why don't you try for that? And now I can't imagine doing anything else.
He's amazing at it. Yeah.
Just like you, Sarah, great at public speaking.
Great at public. Everybody knows that's my strong suit, public speaking.
We're getting there.
Well, Sarah, you've had a lot of exciting things going on in your life recently.
I have.
You got you a new house.
Got a new house.
And locked a man down.
Sure did.
Poor soul.
Sure, I know. Glutton for punishment, that one.
It's awesome to see you doing well.
Well, thank you. It's always good to be back here and to see y'all. I was really proud to be able to come today.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming on, man. We appreciate what you do and informing the community. And so hopefully you come back again sometime.
Sure.
All right, guys, watch us on YouTube or check out our audio versions at Apple, Podbean, Google, Spotify, all of them. Stay grateful.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or in recovery and needs guidance, speak with Turning Point's team of peer support specialists by calling 270-444-3621. You are not alone, and we are proof that recovery is possible.